are my favorite uppers. So there are some crystals that calm you down and are very soothing and calming, and then there are high vibrational crystals, which are more like things that will speed you up a little bit, give you energy. And because they're high vibrational, they're all about like the third eye and the crown chakras and all kinds of things going on up here, which means that they open up your mind and they help enhance your own psychic abilities a lot of the time. These are some of the most powerful and intense stones that you can have, and I have made a list of my 5 favorite high vibrational stones. We're going to start with my favorite crystal, and I will eventually do an entire video on Moldavite, but Moldavite is, in my opinion, the most powerful crystal. I wear it every single day. It changed my entire life. If I don't have it on, I feel like I don't have my superpowers. It is hands down the one crystal that has made the most impact on my life and that I can definitely feel the most. Over time, I have gotten quite a lot of Moldavite. You do not need a big piece of Moldavite to feel it. This is my first piece of Moldavite I ever had. It's so cute. So Moldavite, more than any other crystal that I have found, each different piece has an exceptionally different personality. Some of them are very healing, some of them are very protective, some of them are going to push you a little bit outside of your comfort zone to get things done. I have one that is an extrovert. He insists on going to work with me a lot, and he doesn't even want me to wear him sometimes. He wants me to put him up on a shelf, and this is him, and this is the front of him. I have to face him this way out, and I put him on a shelf, and he likes to people watch. And he tells me when he wants to go to work and people watch. And he's also from a location that you get a little bit of frosted tips on Moldavite. Moldavite can look different depending on where it came from. And this particular kind has little like frosted tips. They're called snowflake Moldavites. He's pretty cool. He's happy. So crystals can talk to people too. And sometimes crystals talk to me a little bit, but Moldavite is the one crystal that I can hear a lot more. And I am a pretty big empath. I can feel everything that's going on around me. So over the years, I've had to learn to control that. It's a little bit difficult when you can feel everything around you all the time. But it's kind of cool being around crystals, and I can't hear all of the crystals, but I can feel all of the crystals. So if someone picks up a crystal and that crystal really likes that person, I can feel how happy the crystal gets. Or sometimes if you put it with another crystal, or if you smudge it or put it in the sun and you do something to it, I can feel the crystal get happy. It's like this. That's what it feels like. With Moldavite though, I can hear them, but I can feel them so much more. The other day at work, I was putting a piece of Moldavite into a lady's hand, and I handed her this piece of Moldavite. I put it in her hand, and then it went and it jumped out of her hand. Like I put it there, it stayed there for a second, and it jumped onto the floor. And the whole time, this thing is just laughing so hard. He thought he was so funny. So these are just some of my pieces of Moldavite. I wear a ring on most days. Usually I have on a medicine bag, and I'll keep it tucked under my clothes, and I almost always wear my first piece of Moldavite and a piece of Libyan desert glass and a piece of phenakite, which we're going to talk about more in a minute. Moldavite is called the stone of transformation. There are so many stories of people who have gotten their first piece of Moldavite and their whole life changes. And I've heard these stories both on the internet, but also through people I know personally. Like, this stuff actually happens, and it happened to me. So, but a lot of times people will move, or they'll change jobs, change relationships. They're usually like really big life changes, and it seems like it happens pretty quickly. My whole theory with Moldavite changing people's lives is because it's such a powerful, high vibrational crystal. When you start working with it and when you keep it around you a lot, it's living up here. So it starts working on your vibration also. And so you start living up here. So now you're living in this high vibe place. Anything that's not up here with you is going to fall out of your life. Everything in life is vibrational. You can change your entire life quickly by just changing your vibration. So that is something that Moldavite is known for. It's also very healing. It's an extremely healing stone. It's very protective. Some pieces are more protective than others. Like I said, they each have different personalities, and all the pieces that I have gotten, it seems like they all do different things. And I didn't know before I got them what each one of them would do, but it's like my subconscious or fate or whatever guided me to get the ones that I needed. So now I have an array of them. Different ones that I pick up when I want energy, or when I want good ideas, or when I feel like I need protection, or specifically one of them is just really, really healing. It's actually this one that I have. She is very soothing and healing, and that's what I like to use her for. They say that when you get Moldavite, you start to get the call to the highest spiritual path that you could be on. So I think that Moldavite just makes us all better. And they say it starts working on your consciousness just by holding a piece, or just by staring at a picture of a piece sometimes. So I like to let other people hold Moldavite a lot. Moldavite doesn't need cleansed as much as a lot of other crystals, but they do get really happy if you put them out in the sun. They like sunbathing a little bit. One of the first things that people notice with Moldavite, usually when you hand someone a piece of Moldavite for the first time, an array of things happen to them. Sometimes they hand it right back to you. They don't want anything to do with it. But a lot of times people like it. They get a little tingle. A lot of people get flushed. One of the most common things that happens is people start feeling high. You start to feel a little bit loopy when you first get Moldavite, and you do get used to it. But I remember when I got my first piece, I didn't even like driving with it on me. I would take it and put it in the passenger seat and then drive, because if I drove with it in my pocket, I felt like I couldn't focus. Like I was kind of like floating up here and whatever, and I couldn't focus to drive and get to where I needed to go. So that's a pretty cool thing about Moldavite too. One last thing about Moldavite, and to some people this is going to make absolutely no sense at all, and if that's you, that's fine. Just, ignore it, move on. But some people are really going to understand this, and they really need to hear it. Getting a piece of Moldavite is very comforting for some people. If you are a star child who finds Earth's energy much too heavy and dense for you, Moldavite adjusts your vibration to bring more cosmic energy down into yourself, so you feel more at home. And at the same time, you're transmuting Earth's energies into higher frequencies. If you are one of these people, I highly recommend that you check out Phil Good's channel. He will have some really great things to say to you. Next, we're going to talk about phenakite. Now, I have a very tiny piece of phenakite. Phenakite is getting exceptionally harder to find. This one is from Myanmar. You can find it a lot of times from Russia, a few other places. Phenakite is the highest vibrational crystal. It's very good for opening your third eye and crown chakras. Again, you know, the high vibrations, it's everything up here. So it's going to start opening all of that stuff and really help all of your psychic abilities come online. Another cool thing that phenakite does is it instantly cleanses your auric field. So in your aura, if you're kind of like carrying around anything, whether it be like an argument that you had or whatever it is that's in here, it instantly cleans out your aura and strengthens it, and that's pretty cool. When people hold phenakite for the first time, a lot of times they can feel this one too. And it's a different feeling than Moldavite. It almost seems like Moldavite, when you pick it up and hold it, it starts affecting your entire body. It's like a whoosh, like a wave, and your whole body is in it. With phenakite, it's more like you can feel the crystal separate from yourself. So you'll feel like a throbbing or a pulsing coming from the stone, whereas you don't necessarily notice it all over your body at first, but you can actually almost like feel the stone moving, which is very unique. And it's pretty cool to see when people aren't used to that kind of thing and they hold it. When someone realizes that a rock that is in their hand is moving, it's exciting for them. Another thing that phenakite does is it raises the vibrations of other stones. So a lot like quartz, when you put clear quartz with another crystal, it amplifies the energies. It's kind of like a battery pack for other crystals. Whereas phenakite, when you put it with another crystal, it raises the vibration of that crystal. So in effect, I feel like it kind of changes the properties of that crystal a little bit, because it's not going to do exactly what it would have done without the phenakite. It's almost like, what would this crystal do if it was on one higher dimension, and then that's how it's going to work, which I think is really intriguing, and it's something I haven't worked a lot with, but I'm definitely going to start pairing phenakite with other crystals and seeing kind of like the feeling that it gives them. So phenakite raises your vibration, it's opening all of your upper chakras, but another thing that it does, it makes you aspire to bigger and better things. It kind of like pushes you in a way. It gives you this like motivation and pull because you want to be greater. Because when you're living on a higher frequency, you always want things to get better. You're in a positive mindset. You realize that by having a more positive vision, you're also going to want to push yourself to be in that vision, if that makes sense. You have bigger, wider aspirations of the world, and you know you can be there, and you want to be there, and you have the energy to get there. So phenakite is a really cool crystal. I think that it's definitely a good one to have in a collection. So that's why phenakite made my list. We are going to talk about Lemurians next. Lemurian crystals are a type of quartz, and they usually have like one big flat face on them, and they have a bunch of little grooves down the side. I wish I had a larger one to show you. I actually don't own a super large one, but maybe you can see on one of these smaller ones, there are ridges up and down them. And if you're running your fingers up and down them, you can definitely feel them. This is a really, really beautiful crystal. Lemurians are very emotionally healing. They're very soothing. A lot of people have a very strong emotional response to these crystals. They have been said to be like a balm for the soul. And a lot of theory about that is that they remind you of a different way of living. The times of Lemuria were much more evolved, and it was just an overall more loving way of living, and just feeling one kind of gives you the resonance and feeling of that. So it's very just, if that makes sense. At the same time, they have a lot of power. So just taking a Lemurian and holding it, for me personally at least, I start feeling it in my palm going like this, and then it spreads kind of like everywhere. And it's kind of like a tingling, it's kind of like a heat, but that's just how I personally feel energy. But when I do hold a Lemurian, a lot of times the word that comes to mind is just, wow, that has a lot of power. They have a lot of power in them. And the lines on them actually make them record keepers. So they're very good for connecting to past lives and remembering things. We have a little guest. They connect you not only to past lifetimes, but also different dimensions. And I wear this large one around my neck quite a lot. This is a pink Lemurian. If you can tell, there's a little bit of a pinkish reddish hue on them, and that's actually made by hematite. Now, that makes, in my opinion, that makes pink Lemurians even cooler because they are a very high vibrational crystal, but hematite is very grounding. So when you have hematite on a high vibrational crystal, it's balancing. It helps you take all this high vibrational energy and bring it all the way down. You can bring it into the ground and do a lot of really cool work with that energy. So the pink ones are very balancing. They're supposed to be great for healing a broken heart. So this is a pink Lemurian, and then this is just a clear one, so you can kind of see the difference there. It's just a subtle color variation. The next high vibrational crystal that we're going to talk about is petalite. Petalite looks a lot like phenakite. It has kind of the same crystal structure system in it. This is kind of a large piece of petalite. I see small pieces often, and they're pretty inexpensive for such a high vibrational crystal. Something that petalite is famous for is it does not allow negative energies to be in its vicinity. That's the big claim for petalite. So whether it scares the negative energy away or it just doesn't even let it approach, there's no real specifications on that. But the fact that if you have this on you, if negative energies can't come around you, I mean, pretty cool. And like a lot of the other high vibrational crystals, it's all about opening the higher chakras, so it does enhance your psychic abilities. I have found that when I put petalite in my pocket and I go throughout my day of working or whatever, I have a lot more energy, and it's supposed to be very, very physically healing, but also it's supposed to be great for ancestral healing. So you can work with petalite and start working on your own stuff, but then that also like has a ripple effect that goes down your ancestral line and heals things through your whole family. It also dissolves feelings of abandonment and alienation, and is said to bring you home to your true soul family. And that is why petalite has made my list. It's one of my favorite high vibrational crystals. Selenite is the next high vibrational crystal I want to talk about. I have talked a lot about selenite in my beginner crystals video, so I'll link that down below if you want to learn a lot more about selenite. But just to do kind of like a quick shout out to it, selenite is nice, it's powerful, it's inexpensive, and it's extremely high vibrational. So it does a lot of the same stuff as the other crystals that we've talked about today do. It's cleansing, it helps raise your vibration, it's very healing, and it's very good for opening those higher chakras. So I just had to throw selenite in there. This is a great inexpensive option for if you just want to run out today and get a high vibrational crystal. You can find this pretty much everywhere, and like I said, inexpensive, super powerful, so I couldn't leave selenite off this list. So those were my 5 picks for my favorite uppers, my favorite high vibrational crystals. And I just want to say that I think it's great to have these high vibrational stones around. I am a high vibrational junkie. I like all that crazy spacey energy. I like having a lot of them on me when I'm working. I just feel like it makes me a lot better. But think about it this way. When you have all of this positive energy like coursing through your body, you can do anything. You can accomplish anything. And I think that's why I'm so drawn to these crystals, because that's the feeling that they give you. Like you have all this power, you have all this energy, you have all this good momentum behind you. So you really can do anything. And that's such a great and wonderful feeling. So I highly recommend everyone trying to get at least one of these great high vibrational crystals. And tell me what you think. If you've held any of these, or if you have any of these, I would love to hear about your experiences with them. Or if you have another favorite high vibrational crystal that I haven't talked about, please let me know about it. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see everyone next time. The next high vibrational crystal we're going to talk about